Nursery rhymes. We've all heard them as children, and we all tell our children nursery rhymes. But what do they really mean? What's the story behind each one? We're going to go through 18 of the most well-known nursery rhymes and tell you just a little bit of information about what they truly mean. I'm Alexander Dartarian.
And I'm Dominic Sykes.
This is The Dartarian Show. All right, so we're going to start off with Here We Go Round the Mulberry Bush.
Aha, classic.
Yes. Going around the mulberry bush on a frosty morning sounds pretty calm and innocent. But there's more to the story than it seems. According to a historian, the song is said to have originated with prisoners, specifically female prisoners, who would exercise around a mulberry tree at the jail when they were being held.
Huh. So they just do laps around it.
Yep, laps around it.
Huh.
So
that's where that comes from. So what does a mulberry tree look like? Is it just like
it's
a regular
tree that has mulberries on it.
Huh.
Yeah.
Are they edible? Can you eat them?
Yeah, you can make mulberry pie.
I wonder if they let the prisoners stop and pick up the mulberries.
Probably not. Let's see. Ba ba black sheep.
Have you any wool?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. 3 bags full.
Yep. Ba ba black sheep isn't the happiest of all lullabies, but for some reason it's been around forever.
Yeah.
There's no real consensus over what it means, but there are a few theories.
Okay.
It's either about medieval wool taxes that began in 1275, or it's connected to the slave trade of the southern United States. None of that really is a good bedtime story for children.
It would be like an allegory.
Yes.
For
probably for cotton.
Yeah.
Or cotton picking and stuff. Yeah. I like them. It's been around a long time, but I mean, there's going to be a few on this list that surprise you where they come from and what do they mean.
I'm sure that probably quite a few of them are actually racist.
Probably. I think that's teaching racism. Like, you're taught racism. You're not born racist.
Yeah.
So I think teaching children racism probably started with the nursery rhymes. Humpty Dumpty. Everybody knows this.
Knows Humpty Dumpty.
Yeah. If you watched Puss in Boots. Puss in Boots. So we all know that Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall and somehow lost his balance and had a great fall.
Yeah.
It's one of the first nursery rhymes we learn, and it seems to date back to 1797. And there are a few theories as to the meaning behind the rhyme or riddle, both of being from war. A whole lot of years ago, like the idea of kings fall off their horses during war and be cut up with swords.
Right.
So back in the day, we didn't have leaders that sat at desks and sent hundreds and hundreds of men or thousands of men to die in their stead.
Yeah.
Kings actually got into the fight,
so
especially medieval kings.
The head of the army.
King Richard the Lionheart was an infamous one. King Philip III and all that stuff. So they would march into battle, and a lot of the times they fell in battle. So that's one instance where it comes from. There's also other theories as well. What's the one that you've heard of?
The one you were telling about the medieval times.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
It's never actually stated anywhere in the nursery rhyme that he is an egg, but we have somehow always had this
that actually comes from 1930s cartoons. And it's weird. I think it actually came from a cartoonist.
Yeah.
Who actually did the first cartoon-ish in the 1800s or something.
But I can see how, it could be thought of as an egg maybe, but it kind of takes the meaning and makes it different when it does it like that. Because obviously, not a whole lot of people have heard exactly what the nursery rhyme means.
Yeah.
So I didn't, 100% know until we started doing research on it. But
yeah. This old man. Now, there's a very dark story behind this one.
is this that Knick-Knack Paddywhack song?
Yes.
Okay.
According to historians, the modern version of this old man may have been inspired by a pervert who often offered to play the paddywhack to younger passerby in a particular colonial town in Ireland.
That is awful.
This old man song could have circulated as a method for residents of the town to inform them that the old man could have known that they loved them, like children loved them, basically. So basically it was a rhyme, a song to
on hero and childhood
yeah.
and stuff.
This old man English nursery song was published in 1906. The song is also a great way for children to learn counting in a fun method. This makes the song in a great way to teach school kids rhyming and counting skills.
I'm never going to be able to hear these the same way ever again. I'm going to go by, the school, hear the kids on the playground doing the nursery rhymes or whatever, doing knick-knack, paddywhack, and I'm going to be like, oh my God.
So basically, the story behind this one is there was an old Irishman living in an English town, and whether you believe it or not, he diddled children. And English people and Irish people never get along at all. My family's Irish. They hate the English. The British, So, they have a lot of animosity between the two. But paddywhack is a derogatory term to an Irish person. It actually translates to a brawny Irishman.
Really?
Yes. So, or it's a derogatory term meaning brawny Irishman.
So Paddy whack.
Paddy is Irish.
Yeah, and then whacking people.
Yeah. So it's a brawny Irishman. It's an insult, basically. Yeah. So it's probably either. I think it's more this old man. I think they're just. It's a rip on Irish people. I don't think that this guy was a pervert and stuff, but he could be. But a lot of the times that this old man, it's also a good way for kids to learn how to rhyme, like I just said. But it's also because a lot of people make up their own words.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, this old man, man.
Even Nightmare on Elm Street did that, didn't it?
They did a nursery rhyme, but they didn't do They didn't do this old man. They did.
Wasn't it in that same kind of rhythm though?
1, 2, yeah, exactly. The next one is Pop Goes a Weasel.
I feel like this one's going to be bad too, but I don't know.
It's actually what it sounds like. It's the sound that a weasel makes when you pop its head off.
What?
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just joking around. That's not the reason. But as long as these, if it goes along the lines of what these nursery rhymes are starting to be like, but I'll tell you the real reason. This rhyme's title is catchy, and we've took it at face value, but it appears to be an actual animal, a weasel. Obviously, everybody knows what a weasel is. Yeah. They're cute as fuck.
Yeah.
Talking about how it pops its head in and out of the ground, right? Mm. But that's not what it really points to. Apparently, it's a song or rhymed used to commemorate or honor England's poverty.
How?
Why honor it? I don't understand.
It's how that correlates though. How's that?
That's what it is. That's what it means. It's about
then again,
England's poverty.
Because it's all Let me.
All I know is the pop goes the weasel. It's the Jack in the Box theme. Yeah, exactly. So, which should scare the shit out of you because usually Jack in the Box is the clown.
Clown, yeah.
Yeah.
Hang on a second. Let me find the actual lyrics.
Well, while you're doing that, I'm going to go on to the next one if you don't mind.
Yeah, go ahead.
Rockabye Baby. Everybody knows this. Every mother's sung this to their baby while they sleep or try to go to sleep. So, listening to the lyrics, it's not hard to pinpoint that this song is really creepy.
Yeah.
The baby's cradle falls off a tree and the baby falls out. It's not hard to figure out this.
This song has always made me.
Yeah.
Has been creepy to me.
While a pretty melody often accompanies it, it's not super glowing.
No.
There are a lot of theories about this about its meaning. Everything from famous royals worried about their heir to the throne to a story of a couple who let their baby sleep in a hollowed out tree.
Huh.
So it's basically, it's either two poor people letting their baby sleep in a hollowed out tree and he fell out of it.
Right.
Or it's about royals losing their heir to the throne.
Yeah.
Which I'm going to lean more towards that because babies, the fatality rate for infants was horrible back then.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you only have one heir to the throne, you're going to worry about him dying.
Right.
And that's pretty much what that song's about, is in my opinion.
Yeah, it's always like, for being supposed to be, like a happy or a calming song that you, like a lullaby that you sing to your baby when your baby's going to sleep, is kind of a sad, eerie sounding lyrics to it.
Yeah.
So I did find the lyrics for Pop Goes the Weasel. It does make sense when you look at the lyrics. So it's like half a pound of tuppenny rice, half a pound of treacle. That's the way the money goes. Pop goes the weasel. Up and down the city road, in and out the eagle. That's the way the money goes. Pop goes the weasel. And so on and so forth.
Yeah. So it's about poverty and stuff. The next one is, it's going to take a dark turn really fast. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
Okay. Oh, yeah. I know this one.
This song doesn't even have a consensus on how to spell mo. So it's no surprise people assign different meanings to the lyrics. Mm-hmm. But there are several theories that point to a dark and creepy meaning, with some saying that the word tiger is a relatively new word swapped out for one that has been and it still is, an incredibly horrible racist derogatory term. The N-word. And so it's that, I believe 100%, because people in the South were extremely racist, and it's a way to teach racism to your children.
Yeah. Pass it on to other generations.
So, that nursery rhyme, I mean, it's not how you pick which one you want.
I think didn't they change the lyrics for that specific reason? The fact that it was considered to be bad. I think they completely changed it. It wasn't eeny, meeny, miny, mo anymore. It was something else.
I don't know. I think that,
like an alternative.
Yeah, exactly. I think it is. But no, it like I said, I mean, I used it as a child to figure out what toy I wanted to play with.
Yeah.
So like I said, but I always said tiger. I always thought it was tiger. I never knew that word had been switched out.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I feel kind of bad saying the rhyme and not knowing the history of it.
Right.
It's a good thing we're telling everybody here about it. Well, other words are way worse.
There's some that are worse, yeah.
Okay, well. Want to support the show? There are several ways to do that. One is to give us a 5-star rating to help people find us. Another is to become a patron of our show. We also have a store where we have amazing merch designed by Ashton Green and Coda. Follow the link in the description below and enjoy the episode. Rub-a-dub-dub is our next nursery rhyme. It's a cute rhyme about a butcher, a baker, and a candlestick maker, but there's more than what it seems. According to some, the maid is the one who was in the tub, and it references a really old-school peep show where men would pay to see women bathe in a tub. Ah, yes, it's one of those. Others think that this means that the butcher, the baker, and the candlestick maker were spying on the woman bathing in a tub without her consent.
Like peeping toms.
Yeah.
That's
So, basically, back then, it was like their own little form of, like, nude
entertainment.
Yeah. Like, you put a quarter in, like, in the 80s, you put a quarter in, and, they danced, and then if you wanted to see more, you had to put more money into it. Yeah. So that's the meaning of that nursery rhyme, which is kind of creepy. Mm-hmm. Jack and Jill. The true story about Jack and Jill may surprise you. Some assume that they are siblings tumbling down a hill and trying to get a bucket of water, which seems innocent enough. Yes, Jack fell and cracked his head, but it seems like it could happen, and maybe too many parents were worried about it as a cautionary tale. It's like
Right.
telling it like, hey, you'll fall down the hill and crack your head open.
Yeah.
Where there's one creepy meaning, and probably the true one, points to Jack and Jill being secret lovers, not related, with Jack dying after falling and Jill dying during childbirth after secretly getting pregnant.
Oh, that's sad.
Yeah.
But I've heard one where he falls and dies, cracks his hope and dies, and then she kills herself afterwards.
Yeah.
I've heard that one.
It's pretty much like a Romeo and Juliet situation.
Yeah.
Ladybird. Ladybird seemed like a sweet and innocent song about ladybirds, the English word for ladybugs, landing on someone who encourages them to fly home. But in some origin stories of the song, it has a much darker meaning. One theory believes the song might be about Catholics from way back in the 1600s who were burned at the stake if they were found saying Mass in Protestant England.
During Bloody Mary's time, or
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Lucy Locket is our next one. The rhyme is really short and one that's not as popular in the United States as some others on this list. The lyrics go, Lucy Locket lost her pocket. Kitty Fisher found it. Nothing in it, but the binding round it. But what does that mean? It's not about a locket that a cat found. It's referencing Catherine Marie Kitty Fisher, a famous courtesan from the 18th century. Lucy, a barmaid, lost her pocket, which is a code word for John in the back of the day.
Huh.
So she lost her customer.
Yeah. So,
Or
almost like a historically...
Yeah, like basically what it is Lucy Locket is a barmaid who lost her lover to a famous courtesan or prostitute to Catherine Maria Kitty Fisher.
Huh. That's
So
interesting.
yeah, so he cheated on her with a prostitute,
Right.
basically. Ring Around the Rosie, another
Is this one
rhyme.
about the Black Death?
Some say it is. Others, it might come later.
Okay.
So, another rhyme that has two versions, whether they're ringing around the rose or ringing around the rosy, both seem to point to the same meaning. And no, it's not roses. It's a whole lot more morbid than that. Since the mid-20th century, people have said that this song is about the plague that took hold in England in 1665. But that might not be the original meaning behind the song, which dates back to 1881. Theories of its meaning include a game for children and a pagan ritual. So it's either about the Black Death or it's a pagan ritual, which it's probably about. No, it's probably about the Black Death.
Okay.
Yeah, usually I pick the older 1881. Like 1665 is a lot older than 1881.
Yeah. Well,
And
if it predated the Black Death, then it can't be about the Black Death anyway, unless it was like a premonition or some shit.
well, the Black Death was 1665.
Oh, was it? Oh,
yeah,
shit,
yeah,
that's right.
yeah.
Never mind.
The Three Blind Mice. Three Blind Mice dates back to 1609, and it points to the first clue that this nursery rhyme isn't actually about the three mice who were blind. This points all the way back to Queen Mary I. Yes, Bloody Mary. And the blind mice were her Protestant loyalists, who were accused of plotting against her. They were apparently burned at the stake, so it's not a real fun song to repeat to your children.
For real.
Old Mother Hubbard is our next one. Old Mother Hubbard is a weird rhyme to begin with. At word value, it seems to be about a mom who has a dog which died because she had nothing to feed it. Then she came back home and found him laughing.
Which would be creepy.
Yeah. Well, dogs don't laugh, so
Yeah.
that's even creepier.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. If that was actually about a dog, and a dog laughing would
It's absolutely a crazy nursery rhyme, and it seems like it would have been written by a small child.
Mm-hmm.
But it seems that Hubbard was never a mother and wasn't even a mother or a woman. Some say it's a rhyme used to poke fun of a Cardinal Thomas Wolsey, who refused to give England's King Henry VIII an annulment in the 16th century.
That dude was always wanting annulments and divorces and...
Yeah, it's weird. We might do a podcast episode about him because his life and the way he treated his wives were horrible. But it was kind of like a making fun of, like, back then the biggest insult to call someone was a woman, which is weird.
Stupid, yeah.
Goosey Goosey Gander is our next one. It feels impossible to take this rhyme seriously with a title like Goosey Goosey. It has to be written only for kids, right? While the name makes us giggle and we feel silly saying it out loud, the actual meaning behind it is way darker than what we would ever have guessed. Its meaning points to religious persecution in England, where Catholic priests weren't allowed to say their prayers in Latin anymore, even when by themselves.
Really?
Yes.
So then what does that have to do with geese?
I have no idea.
That's what I said. Like, some of them I can see. I can see where they're getting it from.
Yeah.
The other ones I'm like, it's kind of a stretch. I don't understand how that correlates at all.
I don't either. London Bridge is falling down.
I know this one.
Yes, everyone has sang this song in elementary school. It's one of the famous nurseries, and it's just one of those rhymes like London Bridge is falling down, like that. So it's just a synonymous, even over here. So
Yeah.
We've never known what a bridge in London falling down has to do with a fair lady or why she was involved in the rhyme. But that might have been our first clue that the song isn't what it appears. It's creepy on its own, being about a bridge crumbling, but other sources say it's derived from a real-life Viking attack in the early 1000s.
On London.
So, yeah.
Which was
if you've seen
Lundden, London.
Yeah. If you guys have seen the Netflix show Vikings Valhalla, that's actually about this nursery rhyme. It's like not per se it's about it. It's about the London Bridge the fall of the London Bridge. So if you guys want to check that out, it's pretty awesome. Mary, Mary, quite contrary. This is another rhyme that seems super innocent at first glance. It sounds like a gardening advice about how gardens grow and the need for silver bells somehow in that process.
Yeah.
However, it's way darker. Specifically, it's about murder.
Oh, sure.
Queen Mary the First of England, who's also the nickname Bloody Mary, is the meaning behind the song. And the cockle shells and silver bells are torture devices.
Really?
Yes, that she tortured Catholics with and murdered them and burned them at the stakes. She was the epitome of evil.
Yeah.
So we have one more. We have one more.
All right.
And this one actually comes from a TikToker.
Aha.
So, do you know the Muffin Man?
The Muffin Man?
Yes, the Muffin Man.
The one that lives on Brewery Lane?
Drury
Lane. My bad.
So this one comes from the self-described CEO of history, Jack Williamson, and his widely shared TikTok video, which was originally posted on January 16th, 2021, and is about the nursery rhyme, The Muffin Man. So basically what he's saying in the video is, we're going to quote it and everything, so this is a direct quote from him. So, as you might have already learned, the Muffin Man was indeed a serial killer. He killed 15 children and 7 rival pastry chefs. His name was Frederick Thomas Linwood, and the children's song was made to warn small children and to help small children identify his M.O. so that they can report him to the authorities.
So the Muffin Man was a serial killer.
It's unproven.
Yeah.
They can't see
The theory,
there's no there's no records
rhyme.
documenting these murders being committed by a man of that name or that he even existed.
Right.
Williamson did not note his sources, and we've searched and we've looked up and everything. So it appears that Williamson gives us an account on a entry posted to Unicyclopedia. Basically, it's a parody version of Wikipedia.
Yeah.
So it also says that Linwood also went by the nickname the Drury Lane Dicer, which was known as England's first documented serial killer. A quick look at the entry showed a mugshot of the alleged Muffin Man.
There's just something creepier to me,
But
with like a serial killer or somebody like that, right? That has an innocent sounding name. So like the Dicer, obviously that sounds like a serial killer, but Muffin Man.
there's a reason why he's called the Muffin Man, but he shows a photograph of the Muffin Man, the alleged serial killer of these 15 children and 7 rival pastry chefs.
Right.
But back then in the 16th century, they didn't have cameras. They didn't have mugshots.
No, there wouldn't have been a way to take a picture.
So there's no way in the world that this
they
dude
could have had like an artist rendition.
No, dude, this was like if you guys can go search it, but this is like a sepia version picture of him. So there was no, I mean,
maybe it's one of those situations where they're just like using a random picture to try to, because they don't have one. I don't know.
I don't know either. His nickname, the Muffin Man, is actually a reference to how he committed the murders. By local folklore, it is said that Friedrich would tie a muffin to a string, and as a child tried to get it, he pulled the string, eventually luring the child to his house and giving him ample time to knock the child out with a wooden spoon. However, people often question whether these children actually died from the beating with the said wooden spoon, or if the Muffin Man would kill them in some other way. The song "Did You Know the Muffin Man" was used as a warning to small children of his presence or life of crime and help identify his modus operandi, so that children can report him to the authorities. So basically, with I mean, in no way am I calling out this guy. I mean, it's unproven, so it could be true, it could not be true. It's definitely if it's unproven, then like I said, like we don't know. A lot of the records from back in the 16th century didn't survive. I mean, there's no way that every arrest record or every record of killing, because children died like right and left back then.
It's plausible.
It's completely possible. So Jack Williamson, I believe it. You made me believe it. I had to look it up.
Isn't that weird though? How like you can take something, right? And it's like I think, what do they call it? A phonetic device, where you'll take something and to help you remember, you give it a rhyme.
Yeah,
I think it's called a phonetic. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's phonetic.
But it's kind of weird how like we can take a nursery rhyme and it gets passed down from generation to generation and almost never changes too much. It pretty much stays the same. So like we have nursery rhymes from like the 1600s or the 1800s, and they're still been saying in the school.
They're prevalent today.
Yeah, today.
Most of the time they teach children how to rhyme, how to reason, how to learn lessons.
Usually have some kind of moral to them.
Yeah, but the Muffin Man is so interesting because if you listen to the lyrics to it, do you know the Muffin Man?
Yeah.
Like it kind of sounds like it's about a killer.
Yeah, like if on the surface level, if you're just hearing it like in passing or whatever, you don't think obviously too much of it.
Yeah,
but if you like deeply analyze the lyrics,
absolutely
see how that could be.
And then you come up with a theory about this dude being a serial killer and stuff, and it's not like serial killers didn't exist back then. They did, definitely. Absolutely. But to me, I gotta believe Mr. Williamson, the CEO of history. So I enjoyed his video. I think it was good. He might want to put a little disclaimer in the comments or the section or whatever, saying that this is unproven, but instead of just spitting it as fact, because that's not a good way to. I mean, it's a good way to go viral. You say something like that craziness, but that's 18 nursery rhymes. We hope you enjoyed them. And we will see you next week for the Donner Party.
Thanks for listening.